Then some people are more rational and others are more emotional. Reason governs my thinking. For instance, a right-hand person that has worked for me for long, and she's really very good at what she does, she is now immigrating. And although that is like a huge blow to me, that's how life is, and I now need to go through all the rational emotions to get the next right person in place. To my wife, this is a disaster. I mean, we had a relationship, she's like family. How can family just leave? You know, so our approach is completely different in this. Yes, both of us will miss her, but to me, I need to plan. I reason about things, so I look at it realistically and facts, and my wife looks at the emotions and the feelings and so forth. The idea is not to be the one or the other, but to be the one and the other. It's because if you overdo the reason part, sometimes, you know, emotional people talk to you, and when they throw their dolls out of the pram, when they're finished, you look at them and say, "Are you happy? Finished? Can we continue?" And you're gone. They say you're heartless, you know, and all those things. The downside of when I'm only emotional is emotions govern my behavior. And I easily become a victim of my feelings. And if I wake up this morning in a bad mood, well, now everyone else is going to suffer because I'm not okay today. That's also unacceptable. So thanks, Justin. Take care. See you soon. The thing is to be not the one or the other, but to be the one and the other. To accommodate the emotions where necessary, but to reason also about all these things where necessary. So none of this, you need to have that flexibility to be everything depending on the situation. Sometimes they talk about situational leadership. What I want to say is depending on the situation here, you know, should I be emotional or should I be rational, or what should my approach there be? But then a very important thing that also comes to mind, tonight I'm speaking to people in America in a mining industry about human error. And the thing is that you've now learned the left side of, let me just quickly draw a picture here. Can you still see here? Okay, let me draw it here. There's the two brain hemispheres. The left side of the brain controls the right side of the body, and the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. So this brain hemisphere controls this eye, this ear, and use your imagination, that hand. I know this is not, but just bear with me. I didn't pass creative arts and those things, or even handwriting well at school or at university. So your right hemisphere controls the left eye, the left ear, and the left hand. So you've got two of everything. Two brain hemispheres, two eyes, two ears, two hands. But what I want you to do, just as you are sitting there, I want you to look at this guy's nose there. In other words, just focus on the nose there, where the red dot is. Extend your hands like this and make a hole with your hands not bigger than a golf ball. And then look through this hole in your hands at the guy's nose there. Okay, now as you are doing this, first close your left eye, then open it. And then close your right eye and open it. Okay, thank you. So why did I ask you to do this? Because I wanted you to experience what is dominance. So you've got two of everything, but you will always have a dominant brain hemisphere, eye, ear, and hand. Dominance does not mean strongest or the only one that's working. It means one leads and one follows. If I'm looking at this gentleman in front of me, I'm looking at him with both eyes. But if I have to do the same exercise there, do you see both eyes, sir? You see one. And it's the one, this one. This means this eye leads and this one passively follows. So dominance is the brain, eye, ear, or hand that actively processes information. The other one follows more passively. So if you speak to me, I may say, "Excuse me, what did you say?" I've got two ears, but one ear I'm turning towards you. This one leads, this one follows. Okay? This will therefore mean So yes, this is the first thing that we have to understand. Now, regardless of your dominance pattern, the left side of your brain controls the right side of the body. So your left hemisphere, which have those processing functions, controls the right eye, and your right eye, therefore, will mainly focus then on these things. For instance, words, because that's your language brain, that's your reading eye. This eye prefers to track from left towards right. To give you an example here, let's say the teacher writes down the following sentence. I saw the dog. Okay, now let's say there were this gentleman sits here, he's left eye dominant, sits little Yanni. His left eye dominant teacher says, Yanni, write down the sentence in your book. Now, if you are right eye dominant, so you're right eye dominant, then your eye prefers, sorry, right eye, that's left. If you're right eye dominant, you prefer to track from left towards right, and that's how we read in our society. Okay? But if you're left eye dominant, you actually prefer to track from right towards left if you had a choice. We'll get to that just now. But I just want you to first get this. Your language brain controls your right ear. So a person who says to you, excuse me, what are you saying, is listening more to what you are saying, because they're paying attention more to the verbal side, the language side. And then my left hemisphere controls my right hand. That's why there was this incorrect but belief for many years that thou shalt be right-handed. My father's hand was tied behind his back when he was small to force him to become right-handed, to be right-handed. Okay, but now the right side of your right hemisphere controls the left side of the brain. So my left eye, you can see there's my far-sighted eye. I used to be, I used to coach shooting. And many of my best shotists, my Northern Transvaal champions, were those with a left visual spatial eye. Okay? But what you see is this eye tracks from right towards left, opposite the way that we read in our society. So let's say there sits Yanni, his left eye dominant. So Yanni would actually prefer to track with his eye from right towards left. He'd prefer to do it like this, but our society says you can't do it like that. So what do you need to do? Now Yanni will have to push with his eye from left towards right instead of pull. So as he pushes across the line, donkeys pull a wagon instead of push a wagon. Why? Because it's easier, goes faster than to push it. So readers who are left eye dominant have to push when they read. Therefore, sometimes their eye will, for a fraction of a second, uncontrollably regress, and that's when they turn around. The SAW becomes WAS. They turn around, the B and the D, the 6 and the 9, the G and the P. Because their brain, for that fraction of a second, just turns the picture around. So your left-eyed readers sometimes will, if they're not balanced here gives you balance here. And then you don't have that problem. But balance, if I'm not brain fit or stressed and I shut down, then it's going to cause imbalance here. And then you're going to start picking up where a guy reads slowly, or sometimes experience these eye regressions where they turn the picture of the word they see around, and SAW becomes WAS. So, yes, the eyes have different processing functions. And the ears also have different processing functions. Your left ear, your right hemisphere, is your nonverbal, your body language brain hemisphere. And it controls your left ear, the right hemisphere. So it listens to how you say things. If Michael asks me, Andre, how are you today? And I say, fine. What are you going to believe? Often the body language. In fact, research suggests that your body language nowadays actually speaks louder than the words that you actually use. Now, if you look at this, therefore, look at the implications of this. The different hemispheres have different processing functions, but it will have an impact also on the type of eye, ear, or hand that will lead. Now, there are 16 different ways of how people can process information. The student at school, who is the so-called teacher's pet, for whom school has not been a challenge, it's just been one smooth ride, is the logical thinker. School is more a logical dominated world where structure, sequence, fact is more important than creativity, fun, innovation, people, relationships, and so forth. So if I'm left hemisphere dominant, I fit into that system easily. Now, in this case, if I'm right-eyed, right-handed, and right ear dominant, all my dominant senses are opposite my dominant hemisphere. In other words, so I'm left brain hemisphere dominant, right-eyed, right-handed, and right ear dominant. So during stress, I will shut down the non-dominant hemisphere. Even if I shut down, I will have access through the dominant eye to the dominant hemisphere, through the dominant hand to the dominant hemisphere, through the dominant ear to the dominant hemisphere. So what you show me, I will process. So I'm a visual learner. What you let me do, I will process. So I'm a kinesthetic learner. And what I hear, I'm an auditory learner. No problem, even during stress. Let's just change the scenario. Let's say the person is still right ear dominant, still the person is still left hemisphere dominant, right-eyed, right-handed, but this time the person is not right ear dominant anymore. The person is now left ear dominant. Bottom line about this is now when Michael speaks to me, I'll say, excuse me, what did you say? Left ear leads. The ear that listens more to how I say things rather than what I say. It's going to have an impact on my personality. But now if I'm stressed, these chemicals is going to hinder electrical transmission. So the information will come in, it will be processed, but the meaning may be hindered. So the information comes in, knocks on the door, but the impulse is not processed further. So I hear, but I don't listen. The meaning of the words are not processed. Sometimes if I said, let's say I look a bit quiet, a bit upset, and I say to my kiddies, go do this, 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 this. Did you hear what Daddy said? Said, yes. Sê gou vir my wat het ek vir jou gesê? Huh? Because I'm stressing them out, and my kid who is like this, boom, they heard me, but they didn't listen. Okay? Now think about a leader. You have an operations manager in business. He's left hemisphere dominant, so he drives the results. He's task-oriented. We said that communication is very important. But what we said with communication, 2/3 listening, 1/3 appropriate response based on what you heard. This guy, now he's under pressure. We got to drive those tons. We got to perform, guys. He's under pressure, so he's not listening. And he's more instructing than communicating. And his staff is going to say, you are a heartless person who just drives us for results and you never listen to me. It's going to negatively impact the dynamics of that team tremendously. Talk about a neuroscientific approach towards leadership. You've got to understand your neurological design, because it will negatively impact how you connect and communicate and establish relationships with other people. But if you know this, you can now do something about it. You can learn brain fitness activities and stress coping mechanisms, because if this hemisphere is not switched off, then it doesn't matter if it comes in here and goes there, or comes in here, goes there, it's going to be processed. But if I don't cope well, it's going to become a challenge for me. Now, that's just the teacher's pet, the so-called blue-eyed boy or girl at school who just has a smooth ride with